Good morning, warriors. It's Lisa Wolf here, and today is Simple Saturday. I'm going to keep it short and simple today because it's Simple Saturday. So I've been thinking about when I was a kid, my parents sent my brother and I to this camp, and it had like this huge high dive. And you know, when you're like 9 or 10, it's probably not even that high, but to us it seemed like it was a skyscraper. And I remember when you first got there, the very first day of camp, you had to do a swimming test. And then when you advanced to that small area, then you had to swim to the buoy, which was very deep. And I always had I wouldn't say a fear. Oh, yeah, I guess. I was a kid. I was scared to death of deep water. And it wasn't about drowning. Well, I guess it wasn't really about drowning, but it was just the depth of the water. And because we grew up with a pool, but it was one that you can touch. Like, it was like 4 feet. So you didn't really have to swim. And you didn't really have that fear of sinking because, you know, you could just stand up. And so what brought me to this conclusion today was I like to call it today swim or sink. It's a time, people, like, you either gotta swim or you're gonna sink. You gotta learn, even though I was a poor swimmer, but when it came down to it, I ended up swimming to that that booth, you know, that buoy or whatever you want to call it, and you had to swim back too. And I remember I was exhausted. I didn't even want to do it, you know. But the reason why they have you do that, because with that high dive, they have during lunch, you if you receive a package or 5 letters or more, you have to jump off that high dive. And it was just some, you know, tradition that they had, but you had to jump off with your clothes on. Like right after lunch, they did like a roll call, and they would throw the packages to you and stuff like that. It was like a big old show, you know. And when you're like 9, 10 years old, you think that's pretty cool. And so one year, my mom, she sent us a package, and I believe my cousin was with us that year. And oh man, I was so scared. I wasn't scared of the height, because that's what a lot of kids were scared of. They're scared of the height, because it is very tall. I mean, like when you're a kid, it's probably only like 20 feet. I don't know. I really don't know how tall it is. But it felt like a skyscraper, like you're on the top of the building and you got to jump in this water. Like, you got to be kidding. With me, though, I wasn't really... I mean, I was scared of the heights a little bit, but when I got up there, like when you're climbing those steps, my legs would be shaking and trembling, because my biggest fear, I was going to sink. Like, I wouldn't be able to swim back up. And when you jump off that thing, you really do, I mean, like, you plummet down. And I mean, when you're little, you're so scared. But when something scary happens to you, what do? You swim up. You just swim through it, right? You just swim through it. But others, they do sink. I saw a couple kids jump up. They give you precise instructions how to do this high dive. Like, they tell you to just keep on climbing up. Do not look back. You will not be able to, once you start climbing up the steps, you got to go up there, because there's a whole line of other kids waiting to get on, and it just keeps the process moving, and you can't climb back down. Once you start climbing, you got to go up. And once you're up there, I mean, it's like a platform. And they had like a railing on one side. But if it was a windy day, that thing would be like swaying, and most kids would be up there crying and screaming and everything. And I don't know, I probably did, but and I remember being at the very edge. You're just like, whew. If you didn't believe in God then, you did for that moment. That's for sure. You'd be praying. You know, you'd be like a little kid. You'd be like, oh my gosh. Like, I have to jump off this thing, and you're fully clothed. But, I mean, during the summer, you know, you just have shorts on and a shirt on anyways. But when I would, and they would tell you, don't hold on to the railing. Just jump out. So there was specific instructions. Specific instructions. And then they did tell you, like, when you jumped off and you hit the water, make sure you're in a certain position, because if you hit that water, like, on your belly, or, like, they told you no cannonballs, because that's going to hurt when you hit the water. It was just specific instructions, but I was scared that I wasn't going to come up. I was terrified that I was going to sink. But they tell you, though, that's why they do the test before. It builds you up to that. And I would jump off. I jumped off, and you hit that water and you go down. You go down so fast, and that all of a sudden you get that instinct. I gotta swim up. I gotta swim up. I gotta swim up. And but as soon as you hit that water, you're just like, you know, you get that breath in, and you're just like, wow, I did it. Like you're so proud of yourself of doing something so simple, but so profound. So today, I ask you, are you going to swim or are you going to sink?